Dear students, in the previous session, we discussed the difficulties of measuring national income. So that part is also continued in this session also. So in the previous session, we discussed about the difficulties of measuring income in national income in income method and product method. Let's continue with those. So here, the capital gains another the sixth difficulty in which it's unable to calculate the national income. So here the problem is that it arises when regarding capital gains. That means when assets such as house, some other properties like shares or stock could be sold at higher prices than was paid for it all the time at the time of purchase. So that means when it's purchased, the value is different. Supposing to take for example, if purchase a house value is purchased at 30 lakh, but the value paid for is 50 lakh. Like the different value is going to be considered while purchasing and selling the properties like houses and stocks or shares. Here, the capital gains are excluded from national income because these do not arise from current economic activities. So, current economic activities, while calculating national income, only the current year value is considered. So, but their prices are different from time to time. So, certain capital assets. But similarly, capital losses are also not taken into account while estimating the national income. Then inventory changes. So here also it's difficult to calculate the inventory changes for considering the national income calculations. So here the all inventories which are changes in stocks, whether a positive or negative, are not are included in national income if they are considered for a particular year. So then the procedure is to take change in physical units of inventories for the year valued at average current price. Remember here, average current price. So that means it's not full value is not considered. Only the average value of those inventories are considered for calculation of national income. But it may not give the real value. The value of changes in inventories may be a positive or negative, but they may be added or subtracted or deducted from the current production of the firm. But it is the change in inventories and not in total inventories for the year. So that means only whatever the small changes take place, they are not countable or may not be calculated properly. So the total inventories value is not considered, but that are taken into account in national income estimates. Then the next difficulty in calculating national income so is depreciation. So that means depreciation is deducted from GNP in order to arrive at NNP. So here depreciation is a charge which is used to maintain the assets, capital assets like machineries, building or anything which is used for a long time. So thus depreciation lowers the national income. So here problem is that estimating of current depreciated value. So here the machinery's value will be expected whose is expected for 30 years or more than 30 years or for number of years. So the firms calculate the depreciation value on the original cost of machine for the expected life. But the price of machine changes almost every year because depreciation charges may change from year to year. So here depreciation may not be easily considerable for calculation of national income. It is deducted from GNP. Then price changes. So here under the product method, so is a price changes are measured by the value of final goods and services at current market prices only. So not in the previous prices or at the time of purchase time. But the prices do not remain stable. They are going to be changed from time to time. So here changes in production, which leads to changes in price level also. Whenever there is an increase or decrease in the total number of products produced in a year and services rendered, so their prices may be changed because there will be variations in inputs as well as factors of production. Then the economics calculate the real national income by a constant price level. So that means a constant price level means the price which is remain constant for a while. The period in which the prices remains as constant, only that amount of that value is considered for calculation by using consumer price index. So that means the average value of the products and services. Then the problems in expenditure method, until that we come to know that from income method and product method, the next type of difficulty we are going to face in national income, in calculating national income or in measuring national income, is problems in expenditure method. So here the government service, in government services there will be a problem for measuring the national income, because in government service, the government services are provided to many, so like police, lawyers, doctors, military, army, forces, and public education. So, and public facilities, all these are provided. But for all of them, only final goods and services are included in calculation national income. But if goods and services are intermediate, they are not included. So, intermediate means they are not finalized. So, in between manufacturing or the productive purpose, for they are taken. So the public services and goods treated as legal, so they consider as the only final goods value. So but they treated as part of national income, but it's very difficult to decide the productive and final goods. So that means whatever the things are initiated in government services, so here it's difficult to decide which services are using the productive goods, or which services or which kind of government services are using final goods. Then the transfer of payments. Here the government expenditure included in a national income. So here, why? Because means because they are paid with the adding, without adding any to the production purpose. That means no production process take place, but the payment will take the payment will be done. So during the current year only. So here it may be a pension schemes, it may be a subsidies given to the business unity entities, and the subsidies tend to lower the market price of commodities, because while calculating national income, they need the full value, but the lower value of market price is only considered while providing subsidies. Then, interest on national or public debts is also considered for transfer for payment, because it is paid by the government to individuals and firms, but on their past savings. But there is no production work. That's the thing is important here. That is, no, without producing any activity or productional activity, they are going to pay a certain amount. So it's not yielded any value. So it's an expenditure, but cannot be considered as a part of national income. So example here, the pensions or allowances given to the workers or employees. Then durable use of consumer goods. So here the durable goods are the good like schools, scooters, car, lorry, bus, or like, so they are bought in 1 year, but they are used for number of years. So the expenditure on them is recorded as the final consumption. So that means once if they are purchased only for consumption purpose, it is they have it's considered. But because it is not possible to measure their used up value for subsequent years, so if they are traded and sold in different years, the value may be going to be differ. So the original value cannot ignored here, so can't be measured properly. The expenditure on new house is regarded as investment, but on new house, the expenditure will be considered as an investment, not for consumption purpose or income purpose. So and not then, if investment made on car by household, it's a consumption expenditure, it's not an income generating expenditure. So, but if he spends, that the owner of the corresponds the amount for using the car as a taxi, then it may be called as investment expenditure, because in the upcoming days or years, so he is going to generate income from that car. Then public expenditure. So here, the government, either it's a state government or central government, they are going to provide the services, and they are going to spend certain amount of money on various schemes, police, army, education, museum, public health, so parks, so all this judicial administration. So these are all the public expenditure made by the government. But the problem is to find out which of the expenditure is consumption expenditure and investment expenditure. So here the expenses on education, museum, public health, police, parks, street lighting, civil and judicial administration are consumption expenditures. So that means they are going to used not for generating income. It's just like a service. But expenses on roads, canals, buildings, etc. are investment expenditure. They are going to generate income in the upcoming years. So, but the expenses on defense equipments are treated as consumption expenditure. So, expenses including salaries of armored personnel are included in national income. So, because they may be become obsolete or destroyed during the wars. So that means the service provided or the expenses incurred during the on defense sectors. So here the problem is that whether identify which is expenditure with for consumption, expenditure for investment. So, after discussing all these things, the national income in expenditure is difficult to, the calculation of national income in expenditure is difficult to calculate, because the difficult to decide the consumption expenditure and investment expenditure, and as well as uh, the transfer of payments. So, it's done by the government. It's not for any income generating purpose. Without productional activities, it is paid or transferred. um, then the price changes in the inventories. So, and the uh, assets, some which are bought and sold, are durable assets which are bought and sold, their prices may not be considered as the original price. Their prices may be changed. So it's difficult to calculate national income under expenditure method. So with this, I would like to conclude this session. Thank you.